Welcome to Lingo Dots Podcasts, everyone. Today we're talking about someone truly special, Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's not just a sports legend, but also a man known for his discipline and strong values. Let's start with his childhood. Did you know he was born in a tiny village in Dagestan called Sildi?
Yes, Sildi is a small place, surrounded by mountains. Life there wasn't easy. People lived simply, and the conditions were tough. But that's what shaped Khabib's strong character. His father, Abdulmanap, played a big role in his early life. He wasn't just a father. He was also a coach and a role model.
Exactly. Abdulmanap was known and respected in Dagestan for his work in martial arts. He trained many champions in combat sambo, which is a mix of wrestling and judo. Khabib grew up watching his father train others, and that inspired him. Martial arts became part of his life from a very young age.
And it wasn't just martial arts. Family was a huge part of Khabib's life. When he was 7, the family moved to Makhachkala, the capital of Dagestan. They lived in a house full of boys, cousins, uncles, all training together. It was noisy and chaotic, but it taught Khabib discipline and teamwork.
One story that stands out from his childhood is when he wrestled a bear. He was only 9 years old. Can you imagine? It sounds crazy, but it had a purpose. His father wanted to teach him how to stay calm and fight against bigger, stronger opponents.
That's true. Wrestling a bear wasn't about fun or showing off. It was about learning courage and strength. Abdulmanap believed that hard work was the only way to build toughness. He pushed Khabib to train every single day, but he also taught him to respect others, his coaches, teammates, and even his opponents.
Yes, those lessons shaped Khabib into the person he is today. Dagestan's culture also influenced him deeply. It's a place where family, loyalty, and discipline are highly valued. These values stayed with Khabib throughout his life and career.
And you can see that in how he carries himself. From his childhood in Sildi to training in Makhachkala, every part of Khabib's early life prepared him for the challenges ahead.
You know, Khabib's story gets even more interesting when you look at his training. His father, Abdulmanap, had a very strict training system. It wasn't just about fighting, it was about building discipline and a strong mind.
That's right. Abdulmanap wasn't the kind of coach to let anyone slack off, especially not Khabib. He believed that discipline was key to success. Khabib didn't just train, he lived training. Every day was filled with workouts, learning new techniques, and sparring with his cousins.
Khabib started combat sambo at a young age. For those who don't know, combat sambo is like a mix of judo and wrestling, but with a focus on real combat situations. Khabib quickly became skilled, and by his teenage years, he was already showing a lot of promise.
Yes, and he didn't stop there. In 2008, he competed in the Combat Sambo World Championship. That was a huge step for him. Winning a gold medal at that level showed how far his hard work had taken him. And the very next year, he did it again, another gold medal.
Winning 2 world championships in combat sambo was incredible, but Khabib wanted more. He decided to test his skills further by entering the world of mixed martial arts, or MMA. It was a big decision, but he was ready for the challenge.
He really was. In September 2008, Khabib made his professional MMA debut. He started fighting in smaller events in Russia and Ukraine. Even though the crowds were small, Khabib gave it his all. His wrestling and sambo skills helped him dominate his opponents.
And it wasn't just about winning. He won every single fight during those early years. By 2011, Khabib had an undefeated record of 16-0. That's when people started noticing him. His ability to control his opponents and finish fights was something special.
It wasn't just MMA either. Khabib also competed in other martial arts events. He became a European champion in hand-to-hand combat and a North American grappling champion. His versatility as a fighter really made him stand out.
His achievements during that time proved he was ready for bigger challenges. And soon enough, the world's biggest MMA organization, the UFC, came knocking. But before we get into that, it's clear that Khabib's rise wasn't just about talent. It was about his relentless drive to improve.
When Khabib joined the UFC in 2012, it was a game-changer for his career. The UFC is the biggest stage for mixed martial arts, and getting there isn't easy. Fighters from all over the world dream of competing in it.
That's true. And Khabib didn't waste any time proving he belonged there. His first fight was in January 2012 against Kamal Shaloris. Even though it was his UFC debut, Khabib looked confident. He won the fight in the third round with a submission.
Yes, that fight showed the world his grappling skills. After that, Khabib kept climbing the ranks. His next fight was against Gleison Tibau, which was a tough one. Tibau was experienced and strong, but Khabib's endurance and pressure helped him win by decision.
And after that, Khabib faced Thiago Tavares. This time, there was no question about his dominance. He finished the fight in the first round with a knockout. That fight really showed how dangerous he could be, not just as a grappler, but as an all-around fighter.
One fight that really stands out was against Abel Trujillo in 2013. This was the fight where Khabib broke a UFC record by scoring 21 takedowns in a single match. Can you imagine? Taking someone down 21 times in one fight is unheard of.
It was incredible. Even though he missed weight for that fight, his performance made people forget about it. He completely controlled Trujillo from start to finish. That record is still unbeaten, and it proved Khabib was a unique talent.
By the end of 2013, Khabib had 5 straight wins in the UFC. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating his opponents. Fans and fighters started noticing him, and he was quickly becoming a top contender in the lightweight division.
What made Khabib so special was his style. His wrestling and ground-and-pound techniques were on another level. Once he got his opponents to the ground, it was almost impossible for them to get back up. He was building a reputation as someone you didn't want to face in the octagon.
It's amazing how quickly he made an impact in the UFC. From his debut to breaking records, Khabib showed that he wasn't just a good fighter, he was a future champion in the making.
By 2018, Khabib was on the brink of making history. After years of hard work and dominating performances, he finally got his chance to fight for the UFC lightweight title. It was a huge moment, not just for him, but for his family and his fans.
That's right. He was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson for the title, but Tony had to pull out because of an injury. So Khabib ended up facing Ali Aquinta instead. It wasn't the fight everyone expected, but Khabib didn't let that stop him.
And he didn't disappoint. Khabib controlled the fight from start to finish. He used his wrestling to dominate Iaquinta and won by unanimous decision. With that victory, Khabib became the UFC lightweight champion. It was a historic moment. He was the first Muslim fighter to win a UFC title.
But Khabib's journey didn't stop there. After winning the title, he found himself in one of the biggest rivalries in UFC history, with Conor McGregor. Their feud wasn't just about fighting, it got personal. Conor's trash talk and behavior added a lot of tension to the matchup.
Oh, absolutely. The hype around their fight in 2018 was insane. It wasn't just another UFC event. It felt like a global spectacle. And when they finally stepped into the octagon, Khabib showed why he was the champion.
He dominated the fight, using his wrestling to completely control McGregor. In the 4th round, Khabib submitted him with a neck crank. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Khabib proved that his skills and discipline could overcome all the noise and drama.
But the fight didn't end quietly. After submitting McGregor, Khabib jumped out of the cage and started a brawl with Conor's team. It was a shocking moment. People couldn't believe what they were seeing.
That brawl led to fines and suspensions for Khabib and others involved. While it was controversial, it also made Khabib even more famous. Fans saw him as someone who stood by his values, no matter the consequences.
Despite the chaos, Khabib's victory cemented his place as one of the greatest fighters in MMA history. His rivalry with Conor McGregor might have been intense, but it also brought MMA to a new level of global attention.
It sure did. And through it all, Khabib stayed focused on his goals. His performance in that fight proved that hard work and discipline always pay off, even under the brightest lights.
Khabib's story didn't end when he left the octagon. In fact, his legacy grew even stronger after his retirement. Let's start with the moment that touched everyone, the fight against Justin Gaethje in 2020.
That fight was special for so many reasons. It was Khabib's first fight after his father, Abdulmanap, passed away. Losing his father was heartbreaking, but Khabib chose to honor his memory by stepping into the octagon one last time.
And he gave a performance to remember. Khabib defeated Gaethje with a second-round submission, keeping his undefeated record intact. After the fight, he surprised everyone by announcing his retirement. He said he had promised his mother he wouldn't fight without his father by his side.
It was such an emotional moment. Fans around the world were sad to see him go, but they also respected his decision. Retiring with a perfect record of 29-0 is something very few athletes achieve. It was the perfect way to end an incredible career.
What's amazing is how Khabib continues to inspire people, even after retiring. He's taken on a new role as a coach and mentor, helping young fighters from Dagestan and beyond. Under his guidance, many fighters have joined the UFC and are making their own marks in the sport.
Exactly. He's not just teaching them how to fight. He's teaching them about discipline, respect, and hard work. That's what makes him such a great role model. He's also used his fame to bring attention to Dagestan, showing the world its culture and values.
And let's not forget his charity work. Khabib has supported many causes, using his platform to help others. He's shown that being a champion isn't just about winning fights. It's about making a positive impact on the world.
That's so true. Whether it's through his coaching, charity work, or simply sharing his story, Khabib's influence goes far beyond the sport. He's shown that success comes from staying humble and true to your values.
Even though some fans still hope he'll return to the octagon, Khabib seems happy with his decision to retire. Whether he fights again or not, his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in history is already secure.
Absolutely. Khabib's journey is more than just a sports story. It's a story of family, faith, and determination. He's shown the world what it means to work hard and never give up on your dreams.
That brings us to the end of today's episode of Lingo Dots Podcasts. Khabib Nurmagomedov's journey is truly inspiring, from his tough beginnings in Dagestan to becoming an undefeated champion and a role model for millions.
Absolutely. His story reminds us that discipline, family, and staying true to your values can lead to incredible success, no matter where you start. Khabib's legacy is more than just his record. It's about the impact he's made on and off the mat.
We hope you enjoyed learning about Khabib's life and achievements. If you have someone else you'd like us to feature, let us know. Share your ideas, like this episode, and don't forget to subscribe to Lingo Dots Podcasts so you don't miss our next story.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.